Welcome back to our Learning Podcast. Today we're going to practice interview questions about the European Union Artificial Intelligence Act, also known as the EU AI Act.
Exactly. This episode is designed for people preparing for interviews in AI governance, compliance, cybersecurity, risk management, or GRC roles.
We'll go through key interview questions one by one, and I'll ask the questions as the interviewer.
And I'll answer them as the candidate. Let's begin.
Question 1. Purpose of the EU AI Act. First question. What is the main purpose of the EU AI Act?
The main purpose of the EU AI Act is to regulate how AI systems are developed, placed on the market, and used within the European Union. It aims to protect fundamental rights, public safety, and societal values while supporting innovation. The Act introduces a risk-based framework, which means that different AI systems have different obligations depending on their level of risk.
So the key idea is not to ban AI completely, but to manage AI risks in a structured way.
Exactly. The Act tries to balance innovation with accountability and protection.
Question 2. Why was the EU AI Act introduced?
The EU AI Act was introduced because AI adoption grew faster than existing governance and regulatory mechanisms. AI systems are now used in areas such as employment, healthcare, financial services, education, public safety, and access to essential services. This created concerns about bias, lack of transparency, safety failures, discrimination, and misuse of AI technologies.
So it was a response to systemic risks rather than just isolated problems.
Yes, another important reason was legal fragmentation. Before the AI Act, different EU member states had different rules, sector-specific regulations, and voluntary ethical guidelines. The EU wanted a harmonized legal framework across the single market.
Question 3. Risk classification. How does the EU AI Act classify AI systems by risk?
The EU AI Act classifies AI systems into 4 broad risk categories: unacceptable risk, high risk, limited risk, and minimal risk. Unacceptable risk systems are prohibited. High-risk systems are allowed but subject to strict obligations. Limited risk systems mainly require transparency measures. Minimal risk systems are largely unregulated, although voluntary codes of conduct are encouraged.
That risk-based structure is very important for interviews.
Definitely. It shows that the regulation is proportionate. The higher the potential harm, the stronger the compliance requirements.
Question 4. Prohibited AI practices. Can you give examples of prohibited AI practices under the EU AI Act?
Yes, prohibited AI practices include systems that use manipulative or deceptive techniques to distort human behavior and cause harm. They also include AI systems that exploit vulnerabilities related to age, disability, or socioeconomic status. Another example is social scoring by public authorities, where individuals are evaluated based on behavior or characteristics unrelated to the actual context.
What about biometric identification?
Certain biometric identification practices are also restricted, especially real-time remote biometric identification in public spaces for law enforcement purposes, except under narrowly defined conditions. Emotion recognition systems in workplaces or educational institutions are also constrained because of concerns about scientific reliability, privacy, and misuse.
Question 5. High-risk AI systems. What makes an AI system high risk under the EU AI Act?
An AI system is considered high risk when its intended purpose and deployment context may significantly affect individuals' rights, opportunities, safety, or access to essential services. Examples include AI used in recruitment, worker management, creditworthiness assessment, access to education, healthcare, law enforcement support, migration management, and biometric identification.
So, high risk is not based only on how advanced the technology is.
Correct. It is mainly based on the potential impact of the AI system on people's rights, safety, and life opportunities.
Question 6. Obligations for high-risk AI providers. What are the key obligations for providers of high-risk AI systems?
Providers of high-risk AI systems must establish a documented risk management system. They must also ensure strong data governance, prepare technical documentation, implement human oversight, and meet requirements for accuracy, robustness, and cybersecurity. In addition, they must conduct conformity assessments before placing the system on the market and carry out post-market monitoring after deployment.
So compliance is not only a pre-market activity.
Exactly. It is a life cycle obligation. Organizations must continue to monitor and manage risks even after deployment.
Question 7. Data governance. Why is data governance important under the EU AI Act?
Data governance is important because biased, incomplete, or unrepresentative data can lead to harmful or discriminatory AI outcomes. For high-risk AI systems, training, validation, and testing datasets must be relevant, representative, sufficiently large, and appropriate for the intended purpose.
What else should organizations document?
They should document data sources, selection criteria, pre-processing activities, known limitations, and bias mitigation measures. If personal data is involved, GDPR requirements still apply.
Question 8. Human oversight. What role does human oversight play in AI Act compliance?
Human oversight ensures that AI systems support human decision-making rather than fully replacing it in high-risk contexts. Oversight may include real-time intervention, the ability to override or stop AI outputs, and periodic review of system performance.
And the people responsible for oversight need training, right?
Yes, oversight personnel must understand the AI system's capabilities, limitations, and failure modes. Without proper competence, human oversight becomes ineffective.
Question 9. ISO 42001 and NIST AI Risk Management Framework. How does the EU AI Act relate to standards such as ISO 42001 and the NIST AI Risk Management Framework?
The EU AI Act establishes legal obligations, while ISO 42001 and the NIST AI Risk Management Framework provide practical methods for implementing AI governance. ISO 42001 supports management system practices such as leadership commitment, policies, risk management, competence, documentation, monitoring, and continual improvement. The NIST AI Risk Management Framework supports activities such as governance, mapping, measurement, and risk management.
So these frameworks help translate legal requirements into operational practices.
Exactly. They help organizations build auditable, scalable, and structured AI governance programs.
Question 10. Preparing for compliance. What steps should an organization take to prepare for EU AI Act compliance?
An organization should begin by building an inventory of AI systems and classifying them according to risk. Then it should identify prohibited or high-risk use cases, establish governance structures, assign clear roles and responsibilities, and implement processes for risk management, data governance, documentation, monitoring, and human oversight.
What about training?
Training is essential. Personnel involved in AI design, deployment, procurement, and oversight must understand their responsibilities. The organization should also develop a compliance roadmap and review it regularly.
11. Extraterritorial scope. What is the extraterritorial scope of the EU AI Act?
The EU AI Act applies not only to organizations established within the European Union, but also to organizations outside the EU if their AI systems are placed on the EU market or if the outputs of those systems are used within the EU. For example, an AI system developed in North America but used to assess job applicants in Europe may still fall under the Act.
That sounds similar to the approach taken by GDPR.
Yes, the AI Act reflects the global nature of AI supply chains and aims to protect individuals in the EU regardless of where the technology originates.
Question 12. Roles in the AI value chain. What are the main roles defined in the AI value chain?
The main roles include providers, deployers, importers, and distributors. Providers develop AI systems or place them on the market. Deployers use AI systems under their authority. Importers bring AI systems into the EU market, and distributors make them available in the market.
Why is this distinction important?
Because each role carries different responsibilities, the Act distributes accountability across the AI value chain instead of placing responsibility only on developers.
Question 13. Technical documentation. Why is technical documentation important for high-risk AI systems?
Technical documentation is important because it demonstrates that a high-risk AI system complies with the EU AI Act. It should describe the system's intended purpose, design, architecture, models, inputs, outputs, risk management activities, data governance practices, performance metrics, and monitoring processes.
Is documentation a one-time requirement?
No, documentation must be updated whenever material changes occur, such as model updates, retraining, or changes in deployment context. Outdated documentation can be treated as non-compliance.
Question 14. Post-market monitoring. What is post-market monitoring under the EU AI Act?
Post-market monitoring is the continuous process of collecting, documenting, and analyzing information about an AI system after it has been deployed. It helps organizations detect emerging risks, performance degradation, bias, unintended consequences, and real-world failures.
So it is about learning from real-world use.
Exactly. It creates feedback loops that help organizations take corrective action and improve the AI system over time.
Question 15. Conformity assessment. What is a conformity assessment?
A conformity assessment is the formal process used to demonstrate that a high-risk AI system meets the requirements of the EU AI Act before it is placed on the market or put into service. It reviews evidence related to risk management, data governance, technical documentation, transparency, human oversight, accuracy, robustness, cybersecurity, and post-market monitoring.
Can all conformity assessments be done internally?
For many high-risk AI systems, internal assessment may be possible, but in specific cases, especially where AI is integrated into regulated products like medical devices or machinery, a notified body may be required.
Question 16. CE marking. What does CE marking mean in the context of high-risk AI systems?
CE marking indicates that a high-risk AI system has completed the required conformity assessment and meets applicable EU regulatory requirements. However, CE marking is not a one-time approval. Organizations must continue to meet obligations, such as post-market monitoring, incident reporting, documentation updates, and change management.
So CE marking is a milestone, not the end of compliance.
Exactly. Compliance continues throughout the AI system's lifecycle.
Question 17. Responsibilities of deployers or employers. What responsibilities do deployers or employers have under the EU AI Act?
Deployers and employers must use AI systems according to the provider's instructions and intended purpose. They are also responsible for monitoring system performance, detecting anomalies, taking corrective action, informing affected individuals when required, and handling serious incidents or malfunctions.
Why is employer governance especially important?
Because employers control how AI systems are used in real operational environments. Even if the provider designed the system properly, misuse by the deployer can create new risks.
Question 18. General-purpose AI models. How does the EU AI Act address general-purpose AI models?
The Act introduces specific obligations for providers of general-purpose AI models because these models can be adapted for many downstream uses and may create systemic risks. Providers must maintain technical documentation, provide transparency about model capabilities and limitations, and support downstream users in managing application-level risks.
What about models with systemic risk?
Models with systemic risk may face additional obligations, including enhanced evaluations, stronger risk mitigation, and cooperation with regulatory authorities.
Question 19. Relationship with GDPR. How does the EU AI Act interact with GDPR?
The EU AI Act does not replace GDPR. GDPR remains fully applicable whenever AI systems process personal data. The AI Act adds AI-specific governance, risk management, documentation, and transparency requirements.
Can an AI system comply with the EU AI Act but still violate GDPR?
Yes. For example, an AI system may meet technical documentation or oversight requirements under the EU AI Act, but still violate GDPR principles such as lawfulness, purpose limitation, or data minimization. That's why organizations need an integrated compliance approach.
Question 20. Common compliance pitfalls. Final question. What are common pitfalls organizations face when preparing for AI Act compliance?
Common pitfalls include treating compliance as a legal paperwork exercise, maintaining incomplete or outdated documentation, misclassifying AI systems, overlooking post-market monitoring, and having fragmented accountability across legal, technical, privacy, security, and business teams.
What does a mature approach look like?
A mature approach includes structured governance, cross-functional collaboration, evidence-based risk classification, strong documentation, human oversight, and continuous monitoring.
Closing summary. That was a great overview. To summarize, the EU AI Act is a comprehensive, risk-based framework for governing AI systems.
Its core themes are risk classification, governance, documentation, transparency, human oversight, data quality, cybersecurity, and continuous monitoring.
And for interviews, candidates should be able to explain not only the legal concepts, but also how organizations can operationalize compliance.
Exactly. A strong answer should connect the regulation to real-world governance practices, such as AI inventories, risk assessments, technical documentation, training, monitoring, and compliance roadmaps.
Thanks for listening. Keep practicing these questions and try answering them out loud as if you were in a real interview.
See you in the next episode.